In 2017, according to the International Labour Organization and Walk Free Foundation, there was an estimated 24.9 million people in forced labor, of which over half were trafficked for the purpose of sexual exploitation. The majority of victims are still women and girls, making up 71%. But the number of males, and especially boys, is on a tremendous rise. It is the world's fastest growing crime, and ILO says that forced labor generates annual profits of $150 billion US. Sex trafficking is a violation of basic human rights, including the rights to bodily integrity, equality, dignity, health, security, and freedom from violence and torture. Torture being something I have seen the consequence of firsthand on one of our employees. I believe that growing up and living in a world where you have been given true, free choices, you were given privileges and advantages other people do not have. And I believe we have the responsibility to make the most of what was given in our hands, not only for the benefit of ourselves, but for others. When we hear statistics on human trafficking and think in numbers, we can easily be overwhelmed by it. But when we add faces to those statistics and think of every victim as someone's mother, daughter, sister, or friend, we cannot help but be stirred to action in some way. I'd like to tell you a story of one of the many women I've met whose faces I added to those statistics. That day, I had my 6-week-old daughter in my arms and was walking down the streets of the red light district on my way to a meeting with street workers. I partnered with them for a while, and a prostitute suddenly walked up to me, pointing to my newborn, and asked if she could kiss her. I was taken aback, as this was not exactly the kind of woman that you would want to have kiss your baby. Alcohol was heavy on her breath, her lips were swollen and smeared with lipstick, and yet, my heart immediately said yes. She bent down, kissed my baby, and said, "I have 3 children of my own, and I do not know where they are." There it was, in my face, one of those countless victims who had been offered a promising job in Switzerland so she could sustain her family back home. Instead of stepping into what they all believe to be a bright future, her nightmare began, and shame was too great for her to face her family again. I left pretty helpless, my mind reeling. It really hit me that I had been completely ignorant of this crime, modern-day slavery. There was no way that I could now remain silent. I really wanted to know the sex workers' situation in Zurich, where I lived, so I figured a way to approach them and meet them on eye level. I'm a massage therapist and believe in the healing power of a touch, and I knew any touches that they get rob them completely of their dignity and value, so by offering them a massage, I could give them back some worth and possibly help them out of a life that they do not choose to be in. The deeper I got involved, the more I got the facts. If these women and men really had a choice, they would not choose to have men rule over their bodies, treating them like trash, stripping them daily of their human rights. Every single sex worker I encountered wanted out. In the words of a victim, we don't need pity, we need jobs. Everyone likes to use the word compassionate, and we've watered it down to something very, very shallow. While we may feel sorry and sympathize with this group of people, it takes a whole lot more to identify with them and disrupt the devastating cycle of human trafficking. The issue is huge and so complex it is overwhelming. There is no way you can tackle it all. However, you must choose to do what you can with what you have, where you are right now. You will experience that the right people show up exactly when you need them. There are countless nonprofits and official task forces doing an amazing job in prevention and rescue. There are also numerous well-operating shelters keeping the survivors safe. but there are very few workplaces offering jobs for these incredible, intelligent, but highly traumatized individuals. Our company was born with the sole intention of creating a safe environment and second chance for formerly exploited people in the sex industry and beyond. We didn't have the slightest clue how our compassion in action would truly look. We just always took the next obvious and sometimes not so obvious step. We wanted to enter the business world with a recycling, upcycling idea to emphasize the nature of the people we work with, namely creating treasure from trash. And the miracle is that when you start putting your faith into action, you inspire others to get on board and think bigger. Kite Pride was not our idea. It was given to us by a girl named Rebecca Federer, a professional seamstress and kiteboarder. She had begun to repair kitesurfing sails and sew other products out of kite pieces that could no longer be fixed. She did this on a small scale, and when she heard about us and our social cause, Rebecca generously handed over what she had started entirely to us. The process of creating a product out of material that would otherwise be discarded relates to the personal life challenge of the employee. Taking something broken, treating it, and caring for it gives it a second chance, or like our slogan puts it, a second wind for kites and people. So now, not only are we caring for the environment, but we are genuinely caring for people who are discarded and considered throwaways. Kite Pride will always be about the people above the product. Whether as a consumer or a seller, we can all be held responsible in some way or the other for modern slavery today. A problem is always run by the demand of it. Society has graduated from fast food to fast fashion. In order to make a change, the big challenge is fighting the hearts and minds of the buyers to slow down and take a moment to think about how and what they are buying and how they use it. We follow trends, we want them now, we want them cheap, and we are not sensitive to who made them, where they come from, or what it might be doing to our environment. Let us show you our short video to summarize what I just said and what we do.
Meet Kite Pride, our sustainable fashion label. We're all about being real, relevant, and making an impact. Every bag is handmade from robust, resilient, and ultralight kitesurfing material that is repurposed from kitesurfers, both locally and globally. Did you know? In Tel Aviv, like most cities around the world, the exploitation of people in the multi-million-dollar sex trafficking industry is on a tremendous rise. 12,000 women and men work in the Israeli sex trade, while 76% of them want to leave but feel trapped because of financial debt, trauma, lack of skills, education, or training. Kite Pride, our fashion label, offers a second win for both kites and people by creating jobs. Every product in our social business is carefully designed with a story behind it, produced in our safe environment, and developing competence through empowerment. Fun and true, we give a free new bag for kites donated to us. By purchasing and using Kite Pride, you are actively combating modern-day slavery while caring for the environment and looking fun and stylish. Kite Pride bags literally change lives. Be the change and join us at kitepride.com.
The people behind the product inspire us more than anyone and anything in the world to keep going when it gets tough. One of our employees never finished high school, has a history of abuse, prostitution, drugs, imprisonment, and her dream was always to study psychology. After being with us for just 1 year, she was accepted into university and is on her way to fulfilling that dream. Volunteers who return for a visit always say they cannot believe the change in people in comparison to when they first entered the business. We treat every one of our employees like family, which means we know where they come from, but believe they can do better by constant encouragement and unconditional love. The vision for Kite Pride is to be a sustainable international brand so we can copy and franchise the model to create second chances for people all around the globe. I'd like to conclude with William Wilberforce's quote, a courageous slavery abolitionist in the 18th century. "You may choose to look the other way, but you can never say again that you did not know." Thank you.